Hello and welcome to the newest episode of the Arts Overlook. I'm your host, Colby Campbell, and in every episode I'll take you on a tour of the best and latest arts and entertainment in the Cedar Valley. On this edition of the Arts Overlook, we'll meet an artist from Chicago who brought her work to our front door. Don't go anywhere. The Arts Overlook starts right now.
Art is thriving in the Cedar Valley. It's everywhere. But if you don't know where to look, you could miss it. This is your local arts perspective. This is the Arts Overlook.
The art department at the University of Northern Iowa does a particularly good job at educating its students while also keeping in touch with the real-world art community. In the main gallery at Camrick Art Building this month, artists Sarah Krepp and Gary Noland are exhibiting their respective works for students and community members to enjoy. I caught up with one of them to learn a little bit about where her art comes from. Meet Sarah Krepp, an artist who learned her craft at the Art Institute of Chicago and has since taken her skills, her story, and her unique style all over the world. For a short time, her work is right here in Cedar Falls.
I'm a professor. I'm emeritus. I'm a former chair of the painting program, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. I was trained as a painter. The Art Institute program is very interdisciplinary. I've been climbing on and off the walls for years. I'm very interested in the relationship of two-dimensional to three-dimensional, and when a painting no longer is a painting, and what happens there, and then what does it become. I'm very interested in perception and how people see things, and how from the other room when you're coming in here, oh, it looks like a red sea or a red moon, and it probably is two-dimensional. And then when they come up to it, two things happen. First of all, it's three-dimensional, and also there are all kinds of color. There are all colors there. It's very, the paint is very thick, so it becomes alive in a different way.
According to Krepp, the way that a viewer perceives the art can drastically impact how it affects them.
What artists do is they say, look at how I see the world, just for a minute, and experience this. I believe that art is an experience, and the object is the catalyst for the experience. The art is between the viewer and the piece, and I set that up, hoping that I will get a response of some sort of transcendence from the object that goes beyond naming. But they're all within the abstract expressionistic vocabulary, and I feel I'm finding my own vocabulary. There's a lot of text in my work. There are bits and pieces of communicative systems. And my question is two things. When is a painting no longer a painting? And I think this is a painting, although it's done on panel. There are three-dimensional objects on it, but also the bombardment of our contemporary society, of all the information that is coming at us. How can we understand everything? And kind of the fear of engulfment.
Krepp's paintings are far from traditional, and the materials she uses have become her trademark. They're also the namesake of this exhibition.
I think you've noticed that there's some tires in these paintings, and the way that happened was kind of from a more formal choice. I was driving home from some openings in Chicago, and I pulled over the side of the road because there was this tire. It was a blowout piece that was fantastic, and I thought, this is the mark made manifest. It was the object part of the mark that I was making in my paintings. So I picked it up just as a formal thing that I wanted to experiment with. Well, that took off. It also became metaphoric for personal history of mine, where I was involved in a car and truck accident, and it becomes a metaphor for life. And the tire, the blowout, is a reject. It's a cast-off kind of our society, and it is very dead, and a lot of it has caused death. And so when you ask me about which tires I pick the ones that are most lively, and like birds in flight, for instance.
But it doesn't stop at shredded tires. Other elements of the paintings invoke an even deeper meaning.
They're bits and pieces of communicative systems. They're everything from electronic bits to pieces of music to dominoes to clips, clamps that are, used for industrial things as well as domestic things. So they kind of come together, again, a mix or conglomerate of what we experience in our everyday lives. And what I hope happens, for instance, the big installation in the other room, the Black Swarm, that people will see and feel the swarm before they can name what it is. Although I'm using tires, talking about death, I also am talking about life. I'm painting life. I'm painting energy.
A few of Krepp's pieces look a little more traditional, at least from a distance, including some that were based on a different form of art.
My work always has been kind of lyrical and rhythmic, and I relate to music, and I found these pieces and I wanted to respond. I've responded with black ink underneath, kind of the marks of the road in a certain way, the chaos, but also being inspired by the notes and how the melody goes. I have then come on them with threads, and I stitch into these. It becomes kind of the combination of digesting different material into kind of a domestic element. Again, it's like, how can we make sense out of this? We see it. I hope people don't see that it's a score right away. But then when you come up, again, it's perception. From a distance, they look, oh, like, these are drawings. And you come up, and it becomes much more than that.
Krepp has observed that the general public might feel a little hesitant with visual art, where they might not with arts like contemporary music or theater, almost as if they don't feel that they come with enough knowledge.
But if the viewer pays attention to their own reaction, again, walking through the Louvre, what excites you? What is it that makes you stop? And keep paying attention to that. And therefore you will be realizing your own sensibility, and you'll know more. And then you'll know what to look for. And then you'll respond, and you're educating yourself. The time viewed a piece in the Louvre, the Metropolitan, or the Art Institute, the average time of looking at a piece is 2.5 seconds. So, where do you stop? With miles and miles of art, like at the Louvre, and I've taught in Paris, with the assignment, where do you stop? What thrills you? What is it? Is it the color? Is it the subject? Is it the scale? Is it whatever? So you take that 2.5 seconds, and I talk to my students about, why should I look at this? What's the hook? What is going to bring me, the viewer, into the work? So they have to think about that. It's not just say, look at me and look what I do and look what I can do. It's, what's your message? What are you about? As As I say to my students, it's gotta be worth my walk. So pay attention to how things look from a distance, and if I come up and it's not worth it, it's not worth it. Yeah. Well, hopefully, like the big installation, I want them to feel the energy. And if they can feel that energy, that's all I want. Because I feel that energy. I am painting energy in life. It is who I am.
Krepp's work, along with Nolan's, will be on display at the UNI Gallery through the end of October. For more information, check out www.uni.edu/art. Take Sarah's advice. Step outside of your comfort zone. Experience the art. Find out what thrills you. Odds are, it'll be worth your walk. That's all for this episode of the Arts Overlook. Thanks for watching. I'm Colby Campbell, and we'll see you next time.